2 techniques used to deflect hostility and turn the audience around. Let's be honest, public speaking is right up there with death and taxes on the list of things people dread most. Presenters often have a morbid fear of hostile or indifferent audiences, and that's understandable. But remember, it's very unlikely they will do you any physical damage unless they've come armed with pitchforks, so keep your fears in perspective. The good news is that even the most hostile audience interaction can be turned around, like a plate of lukewarm potatoes, which, let's be honest, is about as appealing as most presentations start out. Remember, there are simple techniques that you can employ to actually turn the situation to your advantage. Think of it like this. You're not just defending yourself against verbal grenades, you're disarming them and using their explosive force to launch your presentation into the stratosphere. So buckle up, buttercups. We're diving deep into the commandments of handling hostile questions like a boss. By the end of this, you'll be able to disarm a room full of angry toddlers armed with nothing but juice boxes and a whole lot of opinions. First up, let's talk about bridging the agenda. Now, you might be thinking, Carl, my agenda is to get through this presentation without spontaneously combusting. And to that I say fair enough, but remember, even the most hostile audience member is there for a reason. They might have a genuine concern, or maybe they just really hate the font you chose for your slides. Whatever the case, acknowledging their concern is key. It shows them you're listening, even if what they're saying is the verbal equivalent of a dumpster fire. Once you've heard them out, articulate the common ground. This is where you find that tiny sliver of agreement, that little speck of common humanity, and you cling to it like a life raft. Remember, you don't have to agree with their solution, you just have to acknowledge their problem. And once you've done that, you can gently but firmly steer the conversation back to your agenda. It's like performing a magic trick. Yes, you're right. The economy is a flaming dumpster fire. Here is what we have done to maximize our position in the face of an imploding economy, minimizing the damage and giving us an edge over competitors. Now, about those quarterly earnings, see what we did there? We acknowledged the dumpster fire, but we didn't let it derail the entire presentation. We built a bridge, tossed in a little misdirection, and kept the show on the road. Next up, we have the ricochet question. This technique is about as subtle as a brick to the face, but when deployed correctly, it's incredibly effective. Imagine this. You're mid-presentation, the mood is about as welcoming as a pack of rabid badgers, and then from the back of the room, a hand shoots up. This isn't just any hand, though. This hand is attached to an arm, which is attached to a person who looks like they've been marinating in skepticism and resentment for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They unleash a question that's less of a question and more of a public execution of your ideas. What do? Well, you channel your inner tennis pro and hit that question right back into the audience. That's an interesting point, Brenda. Does anyone else have thoughts on how blockchain technology intersects with interpretive dance? Now, you might be thinking, but Carl, what if nobody else wants to touch that question with a 10-foot pole? And to that I say, precisely. You've successfully deflected the hostility, bought yourself some time to think, and potentially created a whole new problem for someone else to deal with. Plus, you might solicit answers from the audience that support you and your opinion. It's a win-win-win. Just remember, the key to the ricochet question is to appear genuinely curious. You're not trying to humiliate the original question asker. You're simply facilitating a broader discussion. Or at the very least, you're buying yourself enough time to formulate an escape plan. So there you have it, folks. 2 techniques to handle hostile questions like a pro. Remember, handling hostile questioners is not just about deflecting negativity, but turning it into an opportunity to shine. Use these techniques to enhance your credibility, believability, likability, and persuasiveness, because at the end of the day, a hostile audience member isn't your enemy. They're just a disgruntled participant in your TED Talk. And who knows, with a little bit of wit, a dash of charm, and a whole lot of patience, you might just win them over. Or at the very least, you'll survive the encounter without having to resort to hiding under the table and whimpering. Subscribe to this channel for frequent new tips on ways to improve communication skills, techniques that are simple and that you can incorporate right now. These tips are garnered from Carl Hausman's book, Present Like a Pro, The Modern Guide to Getting Your Point Across in Meetings, Speeches, and the Media. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips on mastering your presentations.